Taylor Motorsports Products is your first stop for quality safety equipment for your car or your driver. All of our safety equipment products are made in our facility in Albany, Oregon. From custom fit fire suits to racing seat belts, supercharger restraints, engine diapers, transmission blankets, and many other must-have items. Our racing history runs deep. We are racers building the finest safety equipment for racers. And we're a proud supporter of the CHAOS.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to CHAOS Live on this fantastic Wednesday after a spectacular event at Mokan Dragway, where we got a couple of races in. We finished up our race from Kearney, Nebraska, and we ran our Labor Day weekend classic. That is always a big deal, huge deal at Mokan Dragway. And we had a great time. We had all kinds of cars. You know, every time you pull into the gate at Mokan Dragway, there's just kind of an air of expectancy. And when you pull into the gate and there are this many cars like there were this past weekend, you know that it's going to be something special. As the funny car teams, the Dirty South Gasser teams, the Sportsman teams, the Jets, and of course the Ride Dragsters and everything, everybody was in place early. And when you pulled into the gate, you could sense that this was going to be an event where perhaps fortunes were changed, but where the stage would absolutely be set for finishing up the season. And we'll talk about that tonight because there were a lot of expectations coming into this event, and there were a lot of those expectations that were met, and there were some of those expectations that were perhaps not exactly didn't exactly come out like the people involved would have expected it to. But I got to tell you, when we have talked on this show before about the fans and the experience at Mokan Dragway, and those who were there for the first time, you now get a picture of what we've been talking about, because both Friday night and on Saturday night, that place was slammed. It was so full. As I was listening to some of the chatter from the staff there at Mokan Dragway. And by the way, Carl and Craig and Gina, Tyler and Mike and all of you that were working there, there's so many people at Mokan Dragway that week in, week out, they put in a lot of hard work. And, you know, you can tell that happens by how effortlessly it appears that things go off at that track and that event. And you can tell that anytime you go somewhere, if it looks like it was effortless, there are a lot of people who have really done their homework, who have done a great job of making sure that everything is just right, so that when you and me and the fans and the racers and everybody show up, it just goes bang, bang, bang. It's just a beautiful show. It's a great time. And you don't even have to worry about, oh man, not this, oh man, not that. It was just a great weekend. So for all of you at Mokan Dragway that put on this epic event for us, man, congratulations and thank you for all the hard work that you do. Goodness gracious. So we came in there on Friday night, and you know, if you do this long enough, you're going to get to experience new things all the time. And I think that might have been the first time that I have had an event to finish while we qualified, and then run another event the next day. And all of the work that goes into making sure that those qualifying runs, which were also elimination runs for some of our competitors, there's a lot of work that goes on to make that happen. And we got it done. But we'll talk a good bit tonight with a couple of our winners. One of our winners got his first win, as we're going to be getting a chance to talk first in our interviews tonight with Shane Blanton. Smokey comes through after a few weeks ago, putting his whole program up for sale, as sometimes the learning curve on these things can get the best of you, and you might think, I'm not sure this is what I want to do. But we'll talk about that with Smokey. But I'm so glad he didn't, because boy, did they get it right at Mokan and come away with that event victory? Yes, they did. And we're going to talk with the guy that had 2 final rounds this weekend and saw his fortunes go way up, as he was not somebody that you were looking forward to be in the top 10, although he perennially is. But this year hadn't gone exactly that way for him. But with a runner-up from Kearney and a victory at Mokan, Chris Snyder and Team Brutus, they find themselves in the number 11 spot, just a few points away from number 10. So they're going to be coming around to Baton Rouge and going, hey, this might be something that we can move ourselves into that top 10 once again. Well, Lee, you've had an eventful day, I know, and I'm glad to have you on here. Thanks for all the work and the effort it took for you to get here and get this show rolling. We appreciate it so much. I know you had a busy weekend, but you got a chance as the man in motion out there to see some things that other folks don't see, but then you get a chance to post them so the rest of the world can enjoy the chaos from your vantage point. And what a great perspective you have brought. Tell us about it.
Wow. Well, first of all, what an interesting perspective and attempt to try to get in a motel room. I guess they heard of my rock star status and that I don't leave a motel room the way in which you found it. And they didn't want to let me in on the premises, though I had reserved and had the money, all that good stuff. And I'm a diamond member. How dare they treat me like this? No, finally got in, and here we are on Chaos Live. Wow, what an interesting scenario for Chaos. I think it was the first time ever that Chaos had a double up type scenario in the series history, from what I understand. And did Kansas down in Missouri, and did Missouri in Missouri. And I got to get down to the bottom of the story concerning the armadillo. I have not gotten to the bottom of that yet. There was a armadillo dead on the top end of the shutdown road, and apparently the Man of War team has something to do with it. There is a story in Chaos concerning the armadillo. So I got to figure on that. But David, it is such a privilege, an honor, and just a downright cool thing to get to interact with these drivers, and they have just won. And it doesn't matter if it's your first win or your 50th win, winning is just good. And to get these guys and gals getting out of the car and interacting with them, they're trying to get the gear off, they want to talk, they want to chat. It is so cool. Cannot wait for the winter interviews to come out in the recap for Kearney and Mokan. And then, Daniel DeFerris can appreciate so much. He wasn't emotional in the interview because he went for a wild ride. He doesn't take me as a person that minds a wild ride. I'm sure he's been on several wild rides at his time holding a wheel. But he was that concerned for his fellow competitor. And you could sense a brotherly love and an admiration in what he was saying and what he was showcasing on camera in an interview with him after that wild ride that did collect Alex Barker just a little bit. So that was refreshing to experience and see. Overall, Mokan does not disappoint, David. You were talking about the fan base and the atmosphere. Jessica Williams, thanks to her, put the camera in her hand a few times and said, hey, follow me. We're going to shoot some stuff. And it was certainly cool that went into the stands and got to talk to several people, all different age ranges. And interestingly enough, David, many of the people I talked to, whether young or old, said that was the first time they'd ever been to a drag race.
Wow. Well, as many people as were there, there's bound to have been some first timers, and because the stands were full, and from where I sit on the second story of the tower, I can see all the way down that left side, and I mean it's as far as you can see. It goes all the way to the quarter-mile scoreboards and maybe a little bit past there. But folks in the stands, it was full. I know that I know that there were people from all across the region, but even outside the region, who love to come to Mokan. And I refer specifically to my friend Rodney from way out in West Texas, who likes to, sniff a little nitro on a frequent basis. And he's found that Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos is a great way to do that. And so had a note from him that he was having a big time there. But people came from all over the place. There's bound to be some first timers. And man, for them to get that kind of show on their first time, I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to see them coming back for another excursion into the world of chaos that we bring when we come to a racetrack. So, lots of first timers, lots of many timers that have made it to Mokan Dragway, and there's always going to be some first timers, and we're looking forward to those of you that like to come to Chaos. You do a great job of bringing people and allowing them to get exposed to this particular brand of magic that we like to do. There's just really something spectacular about coming to the drags, seeing the funny cars, seeing the gassers, seeing the jets, and interacting with people that, all that stuff that happens away from the racetrack, it's gone. It's simply a good time being had by good people. And for those of you in Chaos Nation that are bringing folks, man, good job. The world needs a lot more folks experiencing joyful things and having a good time doing it. So, that's what we want to bring you. And we're going to get a chance to talk with a couple of our winners tonight as they have made their way back home. They've got the cars in the shop. They've got everything going on. And with getting the cars ready. Now, we take a weekend off. Kind of need a weekend off after Maryland, and then with Mokan, get a weekend off, and then we're going back to back. Now, not everybody's racing in Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos, but those of us that are with the series and some of our racers, we're going to be going back to back with Baton Rouge and then Lufkin. And that's going to be hot topics of conversation coming up, not only tonight, but I think we're going several weeks running with Chaos Live. We typically do this program every other week, but as we're in the home stretch right here, there's a lot to talk about, and we will get into that as we had big shakeup in the points. And that was one of those things, when you're at the races and you kind of keep up with what's going on and you know what's going on and you start to see things develop. There was a fruit basket turnover at the top 7 of the Funny Car Chaos points, and we're walking into Baton Rouge with a real horse race in the funny car racing that's going to be taking place down there. As the difference in points between number 1 and number 2 very tight. This is that point for those of you that know about the rules and how we keep up with the points in this deal. This is where you have to consider the drop race. And so you go back through those points and you take the lowest total for each racer and you subtract that number. It winds up giving you some even closer matches going into the championship finals than you were seeing already. So there's 6 points difference between number 1 Kirk Williams, as Kirk Williams was able to take back the points lead over Tom Furchess, but as Tom experienced on his final round win in the Kearney Alkydigger B field final, he got the win, but he also damaged the equipment, and that caused him to be unable to compete in the Mokan race. So he got qualifying points for Mokan, but no round points, as he was forced to, load it up and just watch helplessly and see what happened as the other racers went. And Kirk Williams and that team, after a very challenging start on Friday night, they wind up getting the win in the Mokan race, and they eked out the points lead. So they're back in number 1, but it's by 6 points. So we're going into the final race of the season at Baton Rouge a week from Friday with number 1 and number 2 separated by only 6 points. There's a little distance between number 2 and number 3. However, there are very few points between number 3 and number 7. So number 3, yeah, we're looking at very, very few points. So especially 4, 5, 6, 7, it's really a close race right there. So, there's a lot of good things to talk about and a lot of different things that we're going to be going into. And I think that we are just about ready for Shane Blanton, who is in the green room. He's ready, and we're ready to talk to him. So we're going to move to the break. We're going to give you a chance to hear from one of our fantastic sponsors. When we come back, we're going to have first-time winner, Smokey Blanton. Hang in there.
Not many race car shops can say they've been in business for 60 years, but we can. Here at S&W Race Cars, we specialize in welding and fabricating, designing and building door car, dragster, funny car, and alter chassis. We provide water jet cutting and other production services. We have several thousand roll bars and roll cages, custom tube bending, fabricated 9-inch forward housings, and rear frame kits. We run a full-service machine shop, and so much more we couldn't squeeze into a 30-second commercial. Give us a call at 1-800-523-3353 or visit our website.
And there he is. We are back on CHAOS Live on Wednesday night here in September, and we have got with us first-time winner Smokey Blanton. Welcome to the show, Smokey. I know you've been here before, but welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, what a weekend it was at Mokan. I know that in talking with you after the race on Saturday, there was a lot of excitement in that bad company pit. Are you still feeling that? Are you still feeling the energy?
I'm on cloud 9 still. Feels like a dream to me still. First time winning one of these things. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just amazing to me. Going into this whole deal, I didn't expect, I just thought it was going to be a test session, and still learning the car and the combination that we put in it and all that. And to come out where we did is just amazing. Thank God.
So you switched over from big block Chevy power to a Hemi. That hasn't been very long. That was this year, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. The first of the year we went to the Hemi. Yes, sir.
Okay. And the conventional wisdom that a lot of people that we'll talk about over the years, this has happened, many, many times. If people change power combinations, and there's a reason that the Hemis are the weapon of choice for most racers. They're not the only weapon, and when you have a series that will offer A, B, C, and sometimes D fields, you can stay with the power plant that you like. But you guys decided to make that changeover, and has that learning curve? I guess it's been fairly steep. I always hear that very few people jump right into a Hemi and have the magic happen for them very quickly.
Exactly. The Hemi power plant is, no different than a big block Chevy. It's just, to me, the bottom end's a little bit beefier and can handle a little bit more abuse. So with that being said, the learning curve for us has been the fuel tune-up, and Lee Ramey's actually been on board and helping us with the fuel tune-up on it and getting us lined out with that. So other than the differences in the heads and whatnot, they're all the same. It's just a matter of getting that fuel tune-up correct and getting it down the track, as we've seen with the big block Chevy that just went in the 3s. So,
yeah, there's a lot of people that are on it and getting the right advice and getting that information plugged in, and then having it work with your transmission or your torque converter, all the items that go from getting the power from the engine to the rear wheels. That's got to be just right. But wow, you guys came in 459 and 456, and in that third and final qualifying run, you made a 444 to put yourselves in good position. So it seems like you turned the corner, as it was just steadily getting quicker and faster through the weekend. First round, you got a win over Jordan Ballou when he turned on the red light. Did you have problems with the car, or did you just shut it off?
No, I actually had problems. I don't know if we struck the wheelie bar too hard on that run, but it offloaded the tires and took us for a ride to the center and was essentially out. I thought I didn't even see the wind light come on my end. I had no clue he had red lit. That's why I jumped back in it and tried to get down the track. But luck was on our side at that point in the game, and it just played out great. So I hate it for Jordan. He's a great competitor, and I really enjoy racing him. But it was just a lucky thing for us on that deal.
Well, sometimes you need one of those things in your favor, but you really came through with those 423s. Is that as quick as you have run?
That is our quickest passes, and there was a whole lot more in it. I was just being conservative. The end of the season, I didn't want to hurt anything, and so we just ran what we thought was a conservative pass to get down the track. And the car's coming around. It really is. It's just one of those deals. It just takes time. And living in Dumas, Texas, there are very little tracks in this area where you can just hop over and go test. Amarillo is our home track that we go to, but to run the races, the CHAOS races, and be competitive with these folks, you've got to get on a track that can take the power. And so you've got to venture off several hours from here to make that happen.
Well, you certainly got some good laboratory time and managed to bring home a big check and a nice trophy as you go 423 a couple of times, and 173 miles an hour, 172 and 173. So it repeated big time on that final round, what you were able to do in the semifinal round. So your baseline of data going into, which I guess is the off season. Now, are you guys coming to Baton Rouge?
No, sir. We're done for the season. I'm actually going to strip the car down over the off season and put it in a new chassis combination. And we've got a screw blower for it, but I don't feel I'm ready for it. I still want to get more data with the route setup that we have, and make sure that the car is going to go down the track before we go strapping a screw to it. So the transmission and the converter, I've had a lot of issues with, and probably some of that on my own behalf. I'm sure of the learning curve of learning these things, but we're getting that figured out. The converter was too tight in Mokan, which is why it only did what it did. It was knocking almost 2,000 RPM at the shift, so that's why it wasn't performing like it should.
So all of you watching on CHAOS Live, you just heard Smokey say he's coming back in 2024 with a different car, and so that's a word of warning, or a word of, hey, look out. So what is it? Coach Prime says we coming. I guess Smokey and Team Bad Company is coming for everybody in 2024. So good to hear that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, David.
Hey, for those of you in your growing fan club, there's a lot of folks that have seen the Bad Company car race, but maybe not known a whole lot about you and your family and all. Tell us a little about your racing heritage. You've grown up in Moore County, Texas, and tell us a little about your professional life outside of racing.
Well, as far as racing is concerned, I didn't start racing until it's been I don't know, 7-8 years ago. But my professional career, I work in the oil and gas field, measurement technician for what they call Scout Energy. Used to be Energy Transfer is another company I used to work for, doing the same thing. But that's what I do here. And been doing this for, several years, I think 12 or so. But then my wife, Cassie, she's a school teacher, been doing that for over 23 years. And Dumas, Texas. And we've got 2 sons, Ethan and Seth, and they're both real active. Ethan's active in football and wrestling and whatnot. So I don't really get to have him come along with us and participate in this deal due to his events that he has going on. So other than that, my oldest son, Seth, he's in law enforcement, and I actually used to be in law enforcement myself. And so he's kind of taken my path when I did law enforcement. So we've got a great family. I love them dearly and couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, that is great to hear, and thanks for sharing that information about your family. So are you telling me that you didn't start racing until SHRA?
Exactly. Yes, sir. That was my first race, was that Roadster. Yes, sir. That's correct.
Wow.
Yep.
And you got that car. You got that car from Lyle, right?
Not the Roadster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you had the Roadster before the Alter.
Black and red with SHRA. I had it. We didn't run it very long. We were trying to run the 5.0 class with that car, and we didn't have that very long before I sold it and everything, and then got the bad company car from Lyle, and campaigned it with a big block Chevy and SHRA. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are, for those watching on CHAOS Live, some of us go back to an organization called Southwest Heritage Racing Association. We had slingshot dragsters and roadsters and altereds and brackets and nostalgia superstockers. It was a great organization. And when you see us run in Texas, sometimes you'll see us run with the TDRA, and a lot of guys that ran SHRA run that too. But Smokey and Cassie and Clay, as far as that goes, we're running in SHRA back in those days. Well, man, I got to tell you, it was great seeing you, and of course, Michael has been with you for a good while. Michael Avila, who's from Austin, was on your crew and does a lot of work. Has been working with you for a lot of years, and your crew. I was really, really happy to see the celebration, and I know that not only were you guys on cloud 9, but I think the whole world of CHAOS Nation was on cloud 9 to see you guys experiencing that success at long last.
Well, you really don't know how many friends and family and people that really appreciate you until you actually win one of these things, and everybody comes to the pits and congratulates you, and that's exhilarating in itself. I had no clue that we had that many supporters and people backing us and whatnot. It was really refreshing, and it got our hopes up for the future. I can't wait for 2024.
Well, that optimistic outlook will serve you well, and to have some experience in 2023 to build on is really going to be something. We will look forward to seeing you. I'm guessing that the first time we'll get a chance to see you is April at the Classic there at the Texas Motorplex.
That's correct. Yeah, we're going to put some paint on this new car, and I think you're going to be surprised with what we're fixing to do to it. I kind of want to keep it a secret, and reveal it there would be cool. And but let's just say it's going to have some kid appeal to it. So we're trying to get the kids involved in this thing, and I feel that a car that will appeal to kids is where we need to go with this.
Well, all right, that's giving us something to chew on over the off season. Hey, I appreciate very much you coming on and sharing your story with us, and allowing us to kind of make over you and your team a little bit. It was a great victory, and we're happy to celebrate with you. Thank you, Shane, for coming on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys and the whole CHAOS family. We love y'all. Thank you.
All right, man, and we love you back. All right, so we're going to take another break, and right after this word from our sponsors, we're going to get a chance to talk to another one of our CHAOS winners from Mokan Dragway, a guy who actually experienced 2 final rounds there at Mokan. We'll have Chris Snyder coming up right after this.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Flying Butcher he's known as, and the pilot of the Brutus Mach 1, the state capital boy from the Show Me State, Chris Snyder. Welcome to CHAOS Live.
Welcome everybody to Brutus Land, and hello, CHAOS Nation.
You know, you guys came into the race on Friday night, and the way it started Friday night, would you have imagined you would feel like you did at the end of Saturday night?
We thought we were going to have to load our junk up and go home. It started out terrible. I mean, the car just wouldn't run, and we messed with it. John and the crew were doing everything they could do, and Brutus just wasn't a happy camper, and he just didn't want to run. So yes, Friday night was not too good for us.
You know, race fans, when you come out to a CHAOS event and Brutus, Team Brutus is at the event, you can always go over there, and it's a happiest bunch of people that are having a good time. And yeah, they're working hard and they're cooking and they're doing all kinds of great things. But on Friday night, I swung by there, and it was not a very happy camp. But they changed it on Saturday. They changed it in a big way after running 991 and 6 flat on Friday night. Whatever you guys did, that 412 on Saturday had to make it all better.
It definitely helped. We were kind of swinging in the dark there. We tried something. Basically, we unhooked everything on the car that didn't have to be on there to make it run. We literally had the mag hooked up, and that was it. So I had gas pedal and a steering wheel and a shifter, and we just hammered down, went down the track, and Brutus was happy again.
That is really interesting. I'm not sure I've ever heard that before. Hey, but it was a good note. But I'm glad you guys got it figured out. You were coming into that race with a little bit of heavy hearts because of your normal backup gladiator having a family challenge. And I know we mentioned it on the broadcast and to the fans there, but we certainly want to join in sending our best wishes to Ashley and to Justin and Ashley's mom having lost her battle over the weekend. And you guys were racing for them, right?
Absolutely. We were dedicating that whole weekend to Ashley and her family and Justin, with the loss of her mom. She went through so much, and it was just time for her to go to heaven. And so that's part of the reason we were so disappointed Friday night, because it's like, man, we really want to do good here. And we weren't. So we basically were going to do whatever it took. It was going to happen one way or the other.
Well, you were very, very successful, and that, you got a couple of breaks by pretty much getting solo shots into the final round of the Kearney B field. But
it's a little easier to win when you don't have to race anymore.
Yeah, it really
we're finally
is.
Figuring that out. But hey, we'll take luck any day of the week. Luck will outdo performance 99.9% of the time. So
be ready.
Considering the year we've had, I think we were due for some luck.
Yeah, you are. You're the pendulum swinging back the direction in your favor certainly worked out well. Now you happen to be on the other end of Tom Furchess putting up another stout 4-0. So in that first final round, you wind up with a runner-up spot, but that's a pretty good way to go. It was 55 points worth. So, you didn't hurt yourself very much there at all. But then to go 4:16, 4:09, and 4:07, career best lapse times,
The 407 is our second best. We've actually
Second
gone
best.
406 twice.
Okay.
But to go 407, and the track was awesome. You know, Carl and his crew down there just did an incredible job. But let's face it, the sun was beating down on the track all weekend long. And track temps were in the high 130s, even 140. And the way they kept that track up was incredible. But you still had a hot track, and you had to deal with that. Well, with us unhooking everything on the car, we lost all ability to kind of control the car, as most people do. And so all I could do was hammer it and hang on. And luckily the car went straight, but we were spinning a lot. But when that 407 popped up on the board, when I shot under it, big old grin got on my face, because I knew that was a heck of a run, you know, to run basically just as fast as we've ever ran in less than ideal conditions with no electronics of any kind on the car. That was pretty pleasing.
I know you in that semifinal round, you were sitting across from that 3-second big block and thinking, we're just going to give it our best shot. Well, it worked out in your favor, as Jade's Nemesis car falls off to a 436. But you guys were stout to contend with a 409 on that run anyway. So it was.
Well, that's why we don't race on paper. We race on the track. So we never worry about who's in the other lane. You know, we're always going to do our best. And, you know, I tried to do my best on the tree. You know, Jade is really good on the tree. She had an 02 light, but the Butcher had just a touch better. And I think we had a little fun staging the cars too. I'm guessing the crowd liked that, but we weren't playing. It was for real. And they're tough characters, and we basically were going as fast as we could do under the conditions, and she was going to have to earn it. Lucky enough for us, we came out on top.
Yeah. Now, this was the 6th time that you guys have been at a Funny Car Chaos event at Mokan. You know, that the very first race outside of North Star Dragway was Mokan Dragway, and you were one of 10 cars that showed up for that race. And that outing was, I think you guys were very much in, it was kind of the beginning stages of your Funny Car career after a lot of nostalgia super stock time.
Well, we had John's other car, the Challenger, for that race, and we had been running it for several years, but that car was a challenge all into itself. So, you know, we did the best we could with what we had, but we were at a definite disadvantage, because basically we were running modern alcohol and modern nostalgia nitro cars against a car that was literally a 1971 Funny Car. And we did the best we could. We had fun, but John was deciding real quick that something different was going to have to happen, and that's when Brutus came about.
Yeah, and that was a great move in every way. You know, you guys talk about having that pineapple hotline. You didn't have to call anybody, as Roland was there for the whole race.
Yeah. You know, to have Roland along and all of his guidance and help, and you talk about the hotline. Let me tell you, if we needed something, when Roland calls, people answer the phone. You know, when Chris Snyder calls, you tend to have to leave a lot of messages. Roland never has to leave messages. They talk to him. So the help over the years was just incredible. You know, his guidance and wisdom and just helping us along, because I'm telling you, we were a bunch of hillbillies trying to do something we didn't have a clue about. And not that we're professional now, but we have made major strides, and most of that is because of Roland and Larry Reyes and a few other guys that have really kind of taken us in over the years and helped us out.
So you and John have a history not only of racing, but of putting on races too, that a lot of folks may or may not know about, as you guys put on some big Mopar shows over the years as promoters. Tell the fans about that.
Well, we were involved with a car club that put on, you know, the Mid-Missouri, the the Mopar Car Show was Father's Day weekend for Show Me Mopars, and we did that for quite a few years. But then we also branched out and we put on the muscle car reunion events, which went on for several years, and they were big events, and they were open to everything. It was a nostalgia-based event, but we had nitro funny cars, nostalgia super stocks, gassers, you name it. And we would bring in a lot of VIP guests. We had legends from the era that we would bring. Big Daddy, Larry Reyes, and Roland, and guy Rapid Ronnie Runyon. Just guys like that to all these races, and they were big events, and it was quite a learning experience. But we also got to meet a lot of these people, and lucky for us, a few of them felt sorry for us, with us trying to run that funny car, and took us under their wing and helped us get to the point where we are now.
Well, you guys are in a good spot going into Baton Rouge as you moved up all the way. You're now 9 points out of 10th place in 11th place going into the championship finals with an opportunity to finish in the top 10. And you finished in the top 5 before. I think you top 2 or 3 several years ago. So getting back into the money at the end of the season. Congratulations on that big move.
Yeah. That's really cool. The way our year started off, we had basically written off the points, but I think we acquired more points this past weekend than we have the whole rest of the year. So it was a very good weekend, and it put us back into the hunt. And if we do good down at Baton Rouge, hopefully we can get back into the top 10, and that would be 4 years in a row for us to be in the top 10. And, I think that's pretty cool in itself. It shows that we do have consistency, that we can perform and we can win rounds. So, that really makes us feel good to know that we can do that, and to have the start that we had and to be able to come back. It just shows the perseverance of John and the crew and everybody involved with Brutus, that we're not going to give up. We're going to stay after it.
Well, you guys bring a real sense of competitiveness from your burnouts. You're always a superstar on the burnouts with the long, smoky ones that really actually do look like when it was 72, and that Mach 1 Brutus was for real, the original. And then you're deadly on the Christmas tree, and you're a humble man, but you let your reaction times do the talking, and they speak loudly. There is no gimme when Brutus is in the other lane. You guys proved that this weekend, and even though you had some challenges in the first of the season, you guys came back with a vengeance there at Mokan Dragway. I heard you say something about Mokan is now your home track.
Yeah, I think we've decided Mokan is our home track, to go back to back there. And we've always loved going down there. Carl and his crew are so good. And the fans down there are just off the hook. I mean, it's just incredible, the response that all the racers get. But the people that come by our pits, and I saw somebody mention in the comments, about how we had the Brutus swords. That's something new that we have in our merch, and they were a huge hit. The kids just loved them. Unfortunately, Justin couldn't be there. I think it would have really been special if our Gladiator could have been there selling them, but no, they were a big hit with the kids, and we'll continue to have them. But the response we just get from the fans down there is just incredible, and we love it. I mean, that's one of the main reasons we do this.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see, and the way you reach out to people and the way they respond, it is simply one of those things that's a sight to behold, and just really, it really kind of gets you right there to know that the camaraderie that is developed between race teams and fans, it's just not something that happens in a lot of venues and a lot of organizations, but it certainly does here, and I salute you guys for the way you make that happen. Now, I don't know if this is the first time that it's ever happened, but Nitro Club posts a couple $100 bonus for those who qualify in the lucky 13 spot, and then they add $100 to it if you win the race from that spot, and you did. So there was there was 3 Benjamins extra from Shaggy and Veronica and Nitro Club for coming from that spot.
Yeah, that's really cool for Shaggy and Veronica to do that. There's so many people like them that are supporting the series that a lot of people don't even know about. But for Shaggy to do that, hey, everybody likes a few Benjamins in their hand. Trust me, it all helps. This is very expensive to do this, and it takes a lot just to even get there, just in fuel, let alone preparing the car and everything. And they're just great people. They've been big supporters of the CHAOS from the beginning, and we're just tickled to have quality people like that supporting our series. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I failed to mention it when we were talking to Smokey, but they got the stick-to-itiveness bonus because their first of the year was kind of like yours, honestly, and they have fought back, and to have both of you come away with big victories at Mokan. Nancy Matter presenting that stick-to-itiveness bonus to Smokey and his team, and you guys getting the Nitro Club Lucky 13 bonus. It was a big deal. So we're going into the championship finals, and then we're going to have 6 months off. And are you looking forward to the off season and planning on 2024? We're going to see you coming back, I'm guessing.
You might see us again. There's a pretty good chance of that. Am I looking forward to the off season? Probably the only thing I'm looking forward to is the banquet. I think the banquet's going to be pretty fun. But I kind of hate not racing for that long, So I want the off season to be over with. Hopefully if we don't tear up Brutus too bad down at Baton Rouge, we won't have a ton of stuff to do to it. So it'll be a reasonably easy off season for us to turn everything around and do our maintenance and stuff, and we can come back blazing next year, and we're looking forward to it.
Man, I tell you, we are too. Chris was when Chris announced the schedule that we would be finishing up in September instead of October, and we'd be starting in April instead of March. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 months? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I'm not sure we can do without it, but we do have that banquet to look forward to, and I know that that's going to be a big time and a great time. So we will anticipate your part in that program, and look forward to celebrating the top 10 with everybody that winds up being there for the banquet.
Yeah, hopefully we will be in that top 10. Trust me, we're gonna work hard for it, and hopefully we do.
Well, no gimmies, but we have definitely got a great battle royale coming our way for the last race of the year. State Capitol Raceway, Baton Rouge, is going to feature one more spectacular conclusion to the 2023 Spell Paving Services Funny Car Chaos Championship Tour. One of those superstars is going to be down there racing right there across from me right now, Chris Snyder. Chris, thank you again for being on CHAOS Live with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
I would like to say that another little thing for Baton Rouge, our buddy Larry Reyes, true legend of the sport, is planning on coming down and helping guide us. So he can be our ace in the hole. So those of you that know Larry, he's one of the true greats of the sports, and he's probably the best storyteller there's ever been. So come by our pit area down there and shake his hand and get his autograph and say hi. And you might as well sit down because he's going to have a story for you.
Just another reason to be there. So thanks for pointing that out, and thanks for having him there. We're getting a chance to see some great things coming from the Mid-South, as they call it, as a resurgence in funny car racing over there. Again, Chris, thank you so much for being a part of the show here tonight. Race fans, we're going to be right back after another word from our sponsors, and we will close out tonight's program of CHAOS Live right after this.
If you can race it, chances are we make a piston or connecting rod for it. We have about 4,000 to 5,000 different part numbers on the shelf for connecting rods and pistons. So about half of what we sell comes right off the shelf, and the other half is custom-made parts. I am a firm believer in distribution and everybody getting their cut, doing their job, and getting rewarded for it. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
Well, David, tremendous show. So glad that we were able to talk with first-time winner in Shane Blanton and Chris Snyder. What a turnaround they were able to experience, all encapsulated within 1 weekend and 2 races with their performance there at Mokan Dragway. I have been fighting on my end. The Beastie Boys are like, you got to fight for your right to party. I've been fighting for my right just to have a smooth show, but finally back on with you. Before we do go, I do want to take the time and run through and show every winner's photo that has been posted on Facebook, on the Funny Car Chaos Facebook page. But I want to run through these and just give people their due.
Yeah, Jeff Cameron came in and he repeated, because he was the winner in 2022 up at Kearney. And even though we had to finish at Mokan, he comes back and makes it back-to-back in that final round with a 393 at 178 miles an hour. Keith Zimmer turned on the red light and kind of threw away a quicker, faster run. But Jeff Cameron comes through again, and he and his team celebrating there with an A field win from Kearney. And Tom Furchess, he's comes into the event in the points lead, and it just looks like he's going to continue to shine. And he did, taking the win in the Alkydigger B field from the Kearney race, a 4:08 at 161, took out the guy we just heard from, Chris Snyder. Chris went red and had a 4:12, so Tom was going to be tough to beat anyway, but that 4:08 gives them another cause to celebrate as they take the win from the Kearney race there at Mokan.
Tom, the top end interview with him, just astounding, the wherewithal in the moment. So many emotions. Obviously, they just won. They also honoring a team member who passed on. And he knew that he had hurt that motor and that it didn't look good. But he does the interview. He doesn't mention anything about the motor. He doesn't mention anything about the situation that they're about to step in. He let it be about what was most important, honestly, that, hey, we won this one. Hey, we're honoring a team member that has passed on. And then he's like, I think we hurt this. Oh, no.
Yeah, a class act all the way. And, we're excited for their win. It's still tight. There's only 6 points difference between he and Kirk. And they're going to be in a battle royale down at Baton Rouge. Mike Buchanan, last year was a breakthrough season for Buchanan. One of his 3 wins in 2022 was at Kearney. He comes back and he doubles up. He gets the repeat victory from the Kearney race as he has a final round victory over Jordan Ballou, which was exactly the same final round as 2022. And Buchanan gets it done with that new carbon fiber Vega body, saving some weight. I think ran the quickest run they have ever run. Not in the final round, but earlier in the day. But they go 4:42 in the final at 166, get a whole shot victory over Jordan Ballou, the dry hop king, who ran a 4:41. So a great final round win for the Ombre team.
And doing it all with having Dial Up a tuner, their crew chief, not able to attend and be at the track due to an injury, and was doing the tuning and smashing the buttons and proverbial turning of the wrenches all the way from home.
Yeah, Gary Rauschko, we sure hope you are well or close to it, and we wish you a quick recovery.
So the next two, Smokey Blanton, we were able to talk with him. Congratulations to that team on their win. Chris Snyder, the Flying Butcher, they were able to win in their field there at Mokan. But the top dog of the actual Mokan Labor Day Classic event,
Kirk Williams comes back, and on that final round, Lee, we had low ET of the event and top speed of eliminations. Shane Lawson was on the other side of the racetrack. He ran 375 at 209 to take that CP Carrillo bonus for the A field top speed of eliminations, 209 plus. But Kirk Williams, after a horrible Friday night, they just came out and they had a new combination that they were trying. And after Friday night, they decided, you know what? No, we're done with this combination. And we are going back to what we know. And that combination that has taken them to the 2022 championship is back in the car. And they come through with steadily improving elapsed times from that last qualifier through the final round. And they are able to close the deal and take the Rodak A Field win with a low ET performance, 368 and 206 miles an hour. And it was one more outstanding side-by-side drag race. You just don't see better racing anywhere, I don't care where you go, than you do see in Funny Car Chaos. And that was one of those final rounds for the ages. And they are going down to Baton Rouge with the points lead, albeit a slim one. See if they can finish it up and close the deal for a 2 straight championship season.
It honestly surprises me, David. They were at the World Fuel Alternationals testing that new combination that you just mentioned that they chunked. They're like, we're going to get away from this. But they thought they had found something. They looked tremendously good at Eddyville in testing. Car getting down the track, good elapsed times, whether it was in the heat of the day or they went into the twilight and was testing, and things looked good. But they showed up at Mokan for Kearney, and it looked like they didn't know how to drive a funny car or tune a funny car or get a funny car down the track, much less out of the trailer.
And that's very unusual for that team because, you know, everything about them screams professionalism and accomplishment because they've got the skins on the wall. And so for them to be experiencing that, everybody was scratching their head going, what's happened to Williams? Well, very quickly, the old Williams group returned and they finished strong.
He was shocked when I was able to relay to him the ET of just how low it was there on the top end for the interview. And by the way, thank you for your help with all the top end as well, because I have no clue what the heck's going on. I'm down there and I'm blind as a bat and just waiting on the word. And the only thing I get, so folks that you know, is literally I call David. I have this earbud in this ear and one is out. So I'm listening and hearing and listening and trying to communicate, and I'm just waiting for the call. And that's the only way I know who has won. And I can tell you, it got interesting at Edgewater with Warren when his phone died, and I'm scrambling around on the top end. Who won? Oh, you! Ah! So thank you, David. And
you bet, man.
It is fascinating. I don't think people realize how much teamwork goes behind the scenes in everything with just all the chaos people.
Yeah. Well, you know, we work together. You do a phenomenal job, and I'm glad. I mean, you came up with the idea, and it's like it works great. The bonus for me is I get to hear the interviews before anybody else does, and you know, I'm talking about the next pair coming up, but I can also hear the interview from the top end of the racetrack, and sometimes that's a wee bit tricky, but anyway, it works out great. I kind of get the scoop on all that jazz, but man, the top end interviews, the emotion, the excitement, sometimes the heartbreak, but you know, there's just mixed emotions that go with some of these deals. But to have a chance to bring it to the people like who are watching this program right now, who will watch it on replay, and the people who tune in on Flow Racing for our live stream, doggone, this is so much fun. You know, I say periodically on the program, I love my job, and I really, really do love being with the people that make it happen and love being with the people who are enjoying seeing it happen. And I can't thank them enough for tuning in and helping to make chaos exactly what it is.
I concur. I certainly can echo. You know, David, it's no secret that I do a lot more beyond chaos. You know, I was at the U.S. Nationals 2 times this weekend, and I go to other places, and there are some other places great. So there are some great places to go experience other drag racing, other forms of drag racing. Yet I find myself, I'm like, I want to get back to chaos and the people that are there and the group that is chaos. And though at times covering NHRA can be cool, I'm out there and I'm like, yep, I'd rather be back at Chaos. Or I'm at a PDRA event, which is spectacular in its own right. Some of the best, if not the best, door slammer drag racing that there is, I think, right now. But I find myself, I want to go back to Chaos. It is certainly something special in the drag racing world. And people recognize it. They recognize it elsewhere. And there are plenty of remarks that, hey, that Chris Graves guy, he's got something going on. It's pretty cool. They need to keep up the good work. So we certainly have been allowed to be a part of something special.
We really have. And I'm thankful every single day. Well, Lee, that's going to put a wrap on everything for this edition of Chaos Live. Thank you for all the work to get this one produced. And we've had great interviews with a couple of terrific people. We're anticipating that we're probably coming back next weekend with a preview of the championship finals for Baton Rouge. We'll announce the guests and all the information coming up for you very soon. But we're going to finish the season with a bang, race fans, and we're very excited that you're going to be a part of it with us. So for Lee, for me, for Chris Graves, and everybody at Funny Car Chaos, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Chaos Live. Can't wait to see you next week and then at Baton Rouge. Good night.